Okay, let's just talk to some of the protesters, perhaps. No, none of them want to talk to us about what's going on here. But what I can let me just talk to you, sir. Can you just explain what you think is happening here?
We've tried to go along this route, protesting peacefully. Okay, we've been angry, but you can understand that we've been angry. And basically, the police have just come here and penned us in. From all sides, we can't get out. No one can go out. No one can come in. We can't.
Where is it you want to go to?
That way.
Can I just ask you why you're here? Why are you protesting?
Well, because I think the government have made an absolute ass of themselves, and look what they're doing. They've encouraged the police to be violent.
Okay, the police are now, as you can see, moving the protesters, trying to push the protesters back, and the protesters are pushing against the police. So you've got a classic standoff here. The police with their riot shields, with their helmets, and actually with batons, although they haven't raised their batons yet, but they are armed with batons. But they are pushing the protesters back down along Threadneedle Street, just outside the Royal Bank of Scotland, the RBS, where several windows have been smashed in the last few minutes. This was a very peaceful demonstration. It's turned increasingly ugly in the last few minutes, and really chaotic scenes. And this is what the police were fearing all along, in fact, when these demonstrations were called for. Financial Fool's Day, as it's been called by the protesters, a pun on April Fool's Day. This is why so many police officers have been deployed on the streets of London. I think if we can just turn the camera over there, we can see real clashes now going on. A lot of pushing and shoving, a lot of argy-bargy between this police line and the protesters as it tries to drive the protesters further down Threadneedle Street, right outside the RBS and also the Bank of England. And it's getting increasingly ugly, as you can see. We haven't really got much choice. We have to stay here because we're kind of sandwiched in. The police are now more objects being thrown by the crowd, and the police trying to push them back. Some of the protesters that we saw a little bit earlier on were actually trying to get inside the RBS building and trying to get inside the RBS. And now beer is being thrown, liquid is being thrown, and increasingly nasty, ugly scenes. There certainly are, in this huge coalition of the G20 meltdown, as it's been called, something like 80 groups, and the police always feared that among those 80 groups there were some pretty hardcore anarchists who were hell-bent on causing trouble. As far as the protesters are concerned, they say that the police have been looking for a fight and looking to provoke violence. So you've got those two opposite viewpoints.
Police holding us in prison. We want to go home, and the police are just causing the trouble. You know, we have the right to leave this protest, but the police won't do it. If you try to leave the protest, they baton you with their batons. Is that right? Is that British freedom?
All right, well, that's the view of one of the protesters here. We've just come away now from what was that front line, I suppose you'd call it, front line of police and demonstrators. It's a little bit calmer now, but as you can see, they're now chanting "Shame on you, shame on you" is what the protesters are shouting at the riot police, the line of riot police who are now in a line across Threadneedle Street. The protesters saying they're just being stopped from getting any further down there. They simply can't move. They want to go, but they're being penned in. That's causing them more and more frustration. So a pretty chaotic scene here in the City of London.